So if you've ever worked on a complex audio project,
Yeah.
or, even just recorded video where your voice gets completely drowned out by a leaf blower, you know the feeling.
Oh, yeah, that frustration.
Exactly. You're trying to isolate just one sound from a whole mess of them. Well, that ability, audio source separation, is really fundamental for modern AI.
And there's been a major update. A new foundation model called SAM Audio, or Segment Anything in Audio, just landed from Meta Superintelligence Labs.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Let's unpack what this means.
Our mission today, I think, is to cut through some of the hype and really analyze the novel technical ideas in SAM Audio, because this isn't just a slightly better tool.
Well,
It's a whole new way of thinking about the problem, moving way beyond those old systems that were, stuck with fixed vocabularies or single prompts. This is about truly arbitrary separation.
that's the key difference, right?
Yeah.
For years, you were just stuck. Models could find vocals or drums, sure, but they couldn't handle a really specific request.
Something like the subtle squeak of the third chair from the left.
Exactly. And they were always limited to just one type of cue, usually a simple text label.
And this is where SAM Audio just breaks that boundary.
Yep.
It unifies control by combining 3 different prompt types: text, visual, and what they call a temporal span,
All working together.
all working together in a single diffusion transformer framework. You should think of it as this super flexible engine that can create really high-fidelity audio based on these much more diverse commands.
So if you compare that to the older stuff like, say, Demux,
Right, the promptless systems.
they were just so rigid. It was a fixed menu, vocals, bass, drums, and if what you wanted wasn't on that list, well, you were out of luck.
And even when the text-only models came along, they often just fell apart when the audio got really complex, like in a dense orchestral piece or a noisy street scene.
Okay, so let's break down the 3 inputs that give it this sort of universal power. First, as you said, there's the standard text prompting.
Yep, just a free-form description. You can ask for wind chimes softly ringing or something really specific like the sound of a jackhammer starting up.
Then number 2, we have visual prompting.
Which is really cool. If you have a video, you can use a mask, say from a tool like SAM2, to highlight an object.
Like a dog in the corner of the frame.
Exactly. And the model will isolate only the sounds coming from that specific highlighted object.
And the third one, which you said is the really new part, is span prompting.
This is the genuinely novel contribution, I think.
Yeah.
It introduces temporal conditioning. So you're not describing the sound at all.
You're just timing it.
You're just marking its exact start and end time in the waveform. And this is so valuable because it solves ambiguity. Let's say you have 3 identical car horns in a row.
Right.
Text can't really help you pick out the second one, but with a time span, you just select that interval. It's incredibly precise.
And the real power here for you, as the user, is that you can combine them. You don't have to pick just one.
Mm-hmm.
You can describe the event as the piano playing,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time highlight the piano in the video. You get this incredibly precise, instance-level isolation.
Which is a huge leap forward.
Okay, let's pivot a little bit, because there's a major secondary contribution here that kind of solves a deep, long-standing problem for the entire field. Evaluation.
Yeah, this has been a headache for audio research forever. The traditional metrics like signal-to-distortion ratio, or SDR, they were always flawed.
And why is that?
Well, SDR basically measures how mathematically clean the separated audio is compared to a perfect reference track. But the problem is, those scores just don't correlate well with what humans actually think sounds good.
So a high SDR score could still sound, messy or full of artifacts to a person?
Precisely. So to fix this, they created a new metric, an objective one that's aligned with perception, SAM Audio Judge, or SAJ.
And the key thing here is that it's reference-free. It doesn't need that original clean file to judge the quality of the separation.
And what's really fascinating is how well it aligns with human listeners, with what we call mean opinion scores. The paper showed Pearson correlation coefficients, that's the human alignment score, up to 0.883 for speech separation.
Which is extremely high.
It's an incredibly strong correlation. It makes SAJ a far, far more reliable way to measure actual listening quality than, well, anything we've had before.
And it's not just for lab research, right? There's a practical application.
A very practical one. Because SAJ is automatic, you can use it after the fact as a re-ranker.
So if SAM Audio spits out, say, 8 different possible separations.
SAJ can automatically scan all of them and just pick the one with the highest predicted quality. It acts like this automated quality control check, and it significantly boosts the final output.
So the big takeaway here is that SAM Audio is, in a way, a universal tool. It was trained on this massive, diverse data set using a generative approach called flow matching.
Which means the system is designed from the ground up to handle pretty much any sound separation request you can throw at it, with all this multimodal precision. It really makes the old single domain models look like relics.
But, and this is interesting, even with all this success, the developers themselves pointed out a gap that still exists.
Right. They found that visual prompting, while it works, is still noticeably less effective than just using text.
So what does that mean? What's missing? What deeper audiovisual grounding or maybe cognitive modeling is needed to finally close that performance gap, the gap between describing a sound and just, well, pointing at it?
That's the next big question for multimodal AI, and it's definitely something for you to think about. We hope this deep dive gave you the shortcut you needed to understand this powerful new tool.